At my wedding rehearsal, my fiancée said, "He's just my safety net until something better comes." She thought I hadn't heard. The next morning, she woke up to an empty house, a deactivated wedding website, and a screenshot of her group chat forwarded to every guest. "Hey there. We're working hard to hit our first 1,000 subscribers. If you love true, emotional stories, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know." Now let's get into the story. I wasn't even supposed to hear it. I was grabbing my jacket from the coat rack at the end of the rehearsal dinner when I heard her laugh. Loud, unfiltered, the kind of laugh that only comes out when someone's tipsy and surrounded by people who back them up no matter what. And then she said it. "He's just my safety net until something better comes along." Just like that. Word for word. She didn't even know I was behind her. I stood there, frozen, holding my jacket halfway off the chair like an idiot. My ears started ringing, but I heard every word after that. Her maid of honor laughed and said, "Vanessa, you're savage." And she replied, "I mean, look at him. He's stable, he's sweet, but come on. You know I've always gone for a different vibe." Another friend chimed in, "Yeah, but stable pays the bills." They laughed again. I didn't. I just walked out. I didn't say anything. Didn't slam the door. I walked out with my jacket draped over my arm and my stomach twisted in a knot that made me feel like I was going to puke. I sat in the car for almost 10 minutes with my hands gripping the wheel like I was holding on for dear life. We'd been together for 4 years. I thought I knew her. I really did. Her name's Vanessa. She's this confident, outgoing type. Never liked staying home too long. Always wanted something bigger, though she never said what that meant. I met her through a friend of a friend at a Halloween party. I was dressed as Clark Kent. She was some kind of glitter witch, I think. That night, we ended up on the balcony talking about where we saw ourselves in 10 years. She said, "Married to someone who gets me, who supports me, who doesn't hold me back." That's the first time I thought maybe, just maybe, this could be it. Fast forward a year later, and we were living together. Then came the engagement ring. I had saved up 6 months for it. She said yes with tears in her eyes. Her parents weren't thrilled. They didn't like that I wasn't flashy, wasn't ambitious enough for their taste. I make good money, don't get me wrong. I'm in data analytics. Solid, steady work. But I don't have some wild lifestyle. I'm not a hedge fund guy or some entrepreneur with gold cufflinks. And yeah, maybe I don't walk into a room like I own it. Maybe I'm the guy who double-checks a grocery list before checkout. Maybe I budget and say no to overpriced brunches. But damn it, I thought that's what stability meant. Vanessa? She seemed to like that, at first. Somewhere in year 2, the comments started. Little things. "You really need new shoes. Those look like you're trying not to be noticed." Or, "Don't take this the wrong way, but sometimes you dress like you're going to a job interview, even at dinner." And then things got bigger. She wanted a condo on the coast. I agreed, even though it stretched us. She wanted to upgrade her car, even though hers worked fine. I signed the papers. I always figured it was part of building a life together, making her happy. The wedding was her dream. Venue by the water, huge floral budget, designer dress, string quartet. I didn't complain. I just paid. Quietly. So when I heard her call me a safety net, I didn't just hear a joke. I heard 4 years unravel in one sentence. She didn't say I was stable. She said I was temporary. Not a partner. A placeholder. I didn't drive home that night. I stopped at a diner I used to go to back when I was in college. Sat in a booth, ordered the cheapest coffee on the menu, and stared at the laminated table until the waitress brought it over. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there in total silence, trying to figure out how I became a man who built his life around someone who never planned to stay. Around 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. "Vanessa, where are you?" I didn't answer. Then, "Hope you didn't leave without me, ha." Funny. I sat there in that booth for another 2 hours. I thought about the down payment I'd put on the wedding venue. I thought about the honeymoon trip I booked to Greece. I thought about the moving truck we hired to bring everything into our new condo the next day. And then I opened my notes app. I typed a list. Cancel venue. Cancel honeymoon. Terminate condo lease. Talk to lawyer. Screenshot the chat. By 2:40 a.m., I had a plan. The wedding was off. She just didn't know it yet. I didn't sleep that night. I got back to our apartment around 3 a.m. She was already in bed, dead asleep, still wearing the white rehearsal dress. She'd probably had a few glasses of wine. There was makeup smeared into the pillowcase, and one shoe still on the floor by the dresser. I stood in the doorway for a long time. You ever have one of those moments where you feel like you're watching a version of your life from the outside? Like you're in a play you didn't audition for? That was me. Just standing there in the dark, realizing this woman I was supposed to marry in 3 days didn't actually want me. She wanted the picture, the stability, the optics. She wanted someone who could cover the bills while she figured out who she really wanted. I walked to the living room and sat on the couch in silence. The to-do list I'd started in my phone felt cold, final, and somehow not real. But it was happening. Before I started making the real calls, I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I went back through our texts. For years of messages, thousands of them, and buried in all the I love yous, and can you pick up oat milk? Were signs. Clear ones. Things like, why do you have to think through every purchase? Just once can we do something spontaneous? I love that you're not flashy, but it wouldn't kill you to act like you're going somewhere big. Don't take this wrong, but you really don't get how attraction works for women sometimes. She used to say I was the calm in her storm. Now I realize she meant I was the backup generator. I thought about the time she insisted we book a $9,000 wedding photographer, because her cousin did. I remember standing there, holding the contract, trying to rationalize it. She said, "We're only doing this once, right?" I signed. I thought about the argument we had when I didn't want to lease the condo by the water. She said, "Are you always going to hold me back from what I deserve?" I called the realtor the next morning. It wasn't just the spending. It was the way she always positioned herself one level above me. Like she was upgrading from her past, and I was part of that glow up, but only temporarily. And I let it happen. I always figured love was about compromise. That if you loved someone enough, you'd bend a little. But somewhere along the line, I stopped bending. I folded. Completely. That night, while she snored in the next room, I started logging into every account I had access to. Wedding venue. I submitted the cancellation form. We lose the deposit. Whatever. Honeymoon. Canceled. Took a hit on the flights, but I got travel credit. Condo lease. I was the primary signee. I sent a notice of termination to the landlord and asked for the clause on early exit. I backed up every receipt, every invoice, every signed document. She never cared about that stuff. Called it boring admin work. Then I did one more thing. I opened her iPad. She left it in the kitchen charging. No password. She trusted me. It synced to her iMessages. And there it was. The group chat. The real bridesmaids. It was worse than I expected. Vanessa, I'm not saying I don't love him. I just don't feel fire with him anymore. He's safe. That's not a bad thing. It's just not forever. Her maid of honor, Jamie. You sure you want to go through with it? Vanessa, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to screw up the bag. If I find someone better later, I'll deal with it then. And then, at least I know he won't leave me. I stared at the screen until my eyes blurred. I screenshotted every page, airdropped it to my phone. Then I printed the whole thing, page by page, and laid the stack on our dining table under her bouquet sample. Last thing I did before bed was turn off our wedding website. It was around 6 a.m. when I finally laid down on the guest bed in the office. I didn't cry. I didn't sleep much either. I just waited for the sun to come up, because I knew once it did, everything in her world was about to collapse. I was sitting in the kitchen with a black coffee when she finally came out of the bedroom, wrapped in a robe, hair all tangled. She rubbed her eyes and blinked at me. "Hey," she said like nothing happened. "Did you come home late?" I didn't answer. She walked over, kissed my cheek, like she hadn't just gutted me the night before in front of her entire inner circle. I nodded. "Late night. Couldn't sleep. Still got so much to do today," she mumbled. "Florist, final guest count, gift bags. I think the wedding site's acting weird by the way." She grabbed her phone. 10 seconds passed. Then her eyebrows pulled in. She refreshed the wedding website. Nothing. Tried again. Blank. She opened her email. Froze. Then, what the hell? She looked up at me. "You canceled the venue?" I sipped my coffee. Then her phone buzzed. And buzzed again. And again. One by one. Her dad. Her sister. 2 of the bridesmaids. The planner. The officiant. "Vanessa, why is everyone saying it's off?" She opened the group chat, and the most recent message hit her like a brick to the face. I had sent every single person on the guest list, her friends, her family, the bridal party, a PDF titled, "Safety Net." The cover page? A screenshot of her quote, "He's just my safety net until something better comes." Attached to that, every screenshot from the real bridesmaids thread, pages and pages of receipts. No captions. No explanations. Just truth. The messages started coming in immediately. Jamie, maid of honor. Vanessa, what the hell? Did you know he had this? Her cousin. You need to fix this. Now. Her college friend. You said he was controlling. This just looks sad on your end. She spun around, pacing. Did you seriously do this? You sent this to everyone. What the hell is wrong with you? I stood up, grabbed my keys, and headed to the door. Where are you going? She yelled. I turned back, calm as ever. Somewhere that doesn't require lying to impress people. She screamed something at me. I think it was, you're ruining my life. But I had already closed the door. I didn't go far. I stayed in a hotel across town that night. Nothing fancy, just quiet. I needed time to think, to breathe, to figure out the last steps. My phone buzzed all afternoon. 20 missed calls. Then 35. Then 47. Texts ranging from, I can explain. You took that out of context. I was drunk. You can't do this right before the wedding. This isn't fair. I never responded. Later that night, her dad called. I let it go to voicemail. Then he texted, you humiliated our family. You better pray we don't sue you. I sent him one message in return. Just the screenshot. The one with his daughter laughing about me being her placeholder. He didn't reply after that. By the end of the day, the wedding was off. The Airbnb for her family? Cancelled. The deposit for the dress? Non-refundable. Her parents were furious. Her bridesmaids were split. Half of them unfollowed me. The other half sent me quiet messages that started with, honestly. My favorite one came from a girl named Keely, a friend of hers from work. You did the right thing. She treated you like a backup plan. No one deserves that. The silence was the best part. Not the yelling. Not the drama. Just the quiet. For the first time in 4 years, I felt like I wasn't apologizing for being myself. And she was starting to realize that the thing she thought was secure was already gone. I stayed away for 3 days. Not because I was hiding, but because I knew that silence would rattle her more than anything I could say. She spent the first 24 hours texting me nonstop, paragraphs of excuses, apologies, then rage, then guilt. Then came the calls from friends. Some were polite, some not so much. One girl I barely knew, Vanessa's high school best friend, actually had the nerve to message me. If you cared about her at all, you'd hear her out. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Because deep down, they all saw the screenshots. They all saw what she said, what she meant. She wasn't caught in a misunderstanding. She was caught being herself. On the third day, she showed up at my friend Tyler's place, where I'd been crashing. I knew she would. I heard the knock. Tyler glanced at me from the couch. She's here, he said. I know, I replied. I didn't move. She knocked again. Louder. Chris, her voice cracked. I know you're in there. Tyler opened the door, stood in front of her. I'm not getting in the middle of this, he said. But you're not going to storm in here like he owes you a damn thing. She tried to argue. Said she just wanted to talk. Said she deserved closure. I walked to the doorway but didn't let her in. She looked awful. Eyes puffy. Makeup running. Hair in a messy knot like she hadn't slept. Why are you doing this? She asked. Why didn't you just say something that night? You were having fun, I said. Didn't want to ruin it. You could have just talked to me privately. You didn't have to embarrass me in front of everyone. That line nearly made me laugh. You embarrassed yourself, I said. I just put it in the right inbox. She didn't know what to say. She tried another approach. The soft one. Her voice lowered, arms crossed over her chest. I was scared. Okay. I've always been scared of being with someone who doesn't excite me. But I know you love me. And that means something. I looked her in the eye. Did it mean something when you told your friends I was temporary? Her face cracked for a second. Real emotion, finally. But I couldn't tell if it was guilt or just the fear of losing the lifestyle. You don't understand how much pressure I've been under. My mom, my friends, everyone saying I settled. You did settle, I said. But not in the way you think. She stepped forward. Can we just fix this? That's when I handed her a small manila envelope. Printed papers inside. She opened it. Read for a few seconds. Her lips parted. What is this? She whispered. Formal notice that the engagement is void. All payments I made toward wedding expenses are documented inside. I'm not seeking reimbursement. But the lease on the condo is terminated, effective next month. And the ring. I paused. It's an asset. If it's not returned, I'll be filing for stolen property. Her voice cracked. I don't care about the money, Chris. I know, I said. You cared about the image. Then I shut the door. That was the last time I saw her face to face. The next day, her social media started shifting. Wedding posts vanished. Relationship status removed. A few cryptic quotes about betrayal and being misunderstood. And then, a full post. Some people aren't who they seem. Sometimes silence is the loudest form of cruelty. The comments section turned fast. One girl commented, "Didn't you say he was your safety net, lol?" Another just posted a popcorn emoji. She tried to spin the narrative, but the internet doesn't forget. And the screenshots? They were everywhere. Friends stopped replying to her stories. The wedding registry was taken down. Her mom posted a Bible verse and nothing else. By the end of the week, she was alone. I didn't have to ruin her. She did that all by herself. By the end of the first week, she stopped calling. No more essays in my inbox. No more voicemails filled with fake crying, and what we had was real speeches. She went quiet. Not because she gave up, but because she was pivoting. Vanessa had always been good at shifting the narrative. She knew how to read a room and say just enough to make herself the victim. So that's what she tried next. She told people I had abandonment issues, that I overreacted to a joke she made while drinking, that he's always been a little too sensitive. And it might have worked if there hadn't been receipts. Because let's be honest, without those screenshots from her group chat, I'd just be the guy who disappeared before the wedding. But people saw the truth in her words, not in how she said them, but in how casually they were typed. No guilt, no shame, just entitlement. And you can't walk that back with a sad filter and an Instagram caption about healing. Her friends started fading out, one by one. A couple blocked me, probably out of loyalty, but more of them reached out to say some version of, "I'm sorry, I didn't know it was like that. She always talked about your money, never about you." Even her cousin messaged me, "Dude, I defended her for years. But this was next level." She wasn't just losing a wedding. She was losing the illusion she had built, the one where she played the role of a woman who settled for stability, not realizing she was barely hanging on to it in the first place. And me? I didn't jump into a new relationship, didn't post thirst traps, didn't subtweet. I just lived, went to work, hung out with Tyler, took up boxing again, started reading at night instead of checking my bank account to make sure we were good after another one of her just this once purchases. And the weirdest part? I didn't miss her, not even for a second. The version of her I thought I loved? That person didn't exist. She was a character she performed around me, until the mask slipped. And once it did, I couldn't unsee it. About 3 weeks after the wedding was supposed to happen, I got a message from a burner account. No profile pic, no name, just this: "You'll regret this. I was going to help your career." I didn't reply, didn't even take a screenshot, just deleted it and moved on. Because if you still think you had leverage after the wedding imploded in front of 120 people, you've officially lost touch with reality. Then came the email from her dad. Subject line, "Closure." 3 lines. "We didn't know. I'm sorry for how I spoke to you. You were right to walk away." That was it. No grand apology. No drama. Just a quiet admission that everything they thought they were building, the show, the status, the perfect match, was built on sand. I took the day off work. Went hiking alone. No phone. No distractions. Just me. Breathing. Existing. Free. Almost exactly a year after the wedding was supposed to happen, I got an invitation. Not from her. From Tyler. He was getting married. To someone real. Someone kind. Someone who made him smile in a way Vanessa never once made me feel in 4 years. He asked me to be his best man. I didn't hesitate. The wedding was small. Backyard, string lights, homemade food, handwritten vows. No show, no pretense, just warmth. The kind of thing you remember because it feels like something, not because it photographs well. I was standing off to the side after the ceremony, glass in hand, when I noticed her. Vanessa, in a dark green dress, standing near the back, alone. She looked thinner, tired, like someone who had been fighting invisible battles and was starting to lose. I didn't know she was invited. Turns out she and Tyler's fiancé used to be close. She probably RSVP'd before the collapse. Or maybe she showed up just to remind herself of what she lost. She didn't come over. Not at first. She hovered, waited, watched. Eventually, she made her way toward me. "Hi," she said, soft and cautious. "Hey," I replied. No anger, no warmth, just neutral. "You look good," she offered. "You too," I lied. She paused, looked down at her drink, then back up. I just wanted to say, I get it now. I stayed quiet. I didn't back then, but I do now. You didn't leave because you were being dramatic. You left because I gave you no reason to stay. Still, I said nothing. I missed the version of me when I was with you. That one actually caught me. I tilted my head. That version was built on my effort, I said. Not yours. She looked like she wanted to argue, to defend, to justify. But she didn't. She just nodded. I'm sorry. I know, I said. She looked away, took a deep breath. Do you think, maybe someday? I cut her off gently. No, not someday. Not any day. And with that, I walked away. Later that night, after the dancing, after the speeches, I stepped out onto the porch. Alone. Tyler handed me a beer and sat beside me. You all right? Yeah, I said. Better than all right. We sat there for a while, watching the lights shimmer through the trees, listening to laughter echo from the backyard. Then I said something I hadn't said out loud until that moment. She really thought I was the backup plan. The safety net. Tyler laughed. She ever figure out you were the whole damn floor? I smiled. That was the end of it. No fire. No rage. Just peace. Because when someone tells you they're settling for you, believe them. But then show them what happens when you step out from under their feet. Some people don't fall because they got pushed. They fall because they lost the one person holding them up. And me? I didn't catch her this time. I let her hit the ground. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day. And trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.